First-time unemployment claims have fallen to a new pandemic low. The Department of Labor reports 473,000 Americans filed new jobless claims last week. That is down 34,000 claims from the previous week. It is the lowest level of initial claims filed across the U.S. since March of last year. Joining me now for more on the latest unemployment numbers is Lori Bettinger, the co-president of BancAlliance. Lori served as the former director of the Troubled Asset Relief Program during the Obama administration. Lori, welcome. Great to see you again. So first-time jobless claims are at their lowest point in over a year. How significant is this, and what does it mean for the current status of the economic recovery?
Thanks, Tanya. I think we have to celebrate this to some extent, right? I mean, this is positive news, positive momentum. It's good to see some sustained, movement downward in these first-time filers. That said, I think we said that like week by week, let's not read too much into it, but now it starts to feel like we're seeing a trend. That said, and I think we always have to be careful, right, that we're not getting sort of forgetting how big these numbers are by historical comparison. This is still a number that's twice what we were seeing coming into the pandemic. So it's still high, it's still elevated, it's still the sign of a job market that's, in some trouble. But I think it's great to see this trend continuing for some weeks now.
So here's what I'm curious about, because obviously the vaccine rollout, the stimulus checks, and the easing of the coronavirus restrictions are leading to an increase in consumer spending. People are going to more stores, more restaurants, et cetera. However, job growth slowed in April, and many businesses say they're struggling to hire new workers. Right. Now, I don't understand why we still have so many people looking for work and businesses now saying they can't find workers. Are the jobs and the workers not matching up?
I have to think that's the case. And this is such an interesting topic. And lately, I feel like I've been reading so many explanations about why this could be the case. And everything, when something promises to have the answer, I tend to be a little skeptical because I don't think this is a black and white situation, right? You have, in some cases, you have people who, for whatever reason, have not yet been vaccinated, or maybe they've been vaccinated, but still have health concerns about going to work outside, their house. You also have people who are receiving the enhanced unemployment benefits who have made the decision for whatever their reason that it's better for them economically to continue to receive unemployment benefits rather than, potentially return to a job. There's been a lot of noise around that and, a lot of discussion there. And then you have the third issue related to childcare, which always comes up. And I think sometimes it's easy to think, the vaccination rollout's going well, we're out of the woods. But then you look at this one number, which to me says so much, that 50% of schools are still not back full time, 50%. And when you look at that, you think to yourself, wow, there's probably at least one parent that needs to accommodate that, half the time that their kids are not necessarily in school full time, maybe it's 1 week on, 1 week off. And so I still think that the childcare issue is a big factor in the inability of some people to return to work, even though maybe now there is a job waiting for them.
I agree, and especially considering the fact that summer is about to begin. So if you are, worried about that childcare situation, you're not going to be looking for a job now, just as your children will be have even less to do. You have even less of a childcare setup. So this is not like probably the best time to start looking for that job if you are the parent who is most in charge of taking care of the kids. So you're right. It seems to be a combination of factors at play, but so far, at least 12 Republican-led states have ended the enhanced unemployment benefit early. They are claiming it's making hiring more difficult for businesses. Do you expect that to have a significant economic impact?
It's a great question, and I'm not sure of the answer yet. So, we haven't, I think that the governors that have been announced in the past few weeks, most of them have set a cutoff for those extended benefits sometimes in June. So we're not seeing any effects right now. And I think many economists have said they don't think that the enhanced unemployment benefits are the reason that we have such a mismatch. Everyone has an anecdote of someone who'd rather stay home and not. But we are seeing that, I think certain employers that are, whether they're raising their entry wages, adding more benefits, stimulus, they are able to hire people back. And so, I think it remains to be seen. It's going to be interesting once we, get to that point in June where the states that are no longer in that program, we start to see results from them. And to some extent, you'll be able to compare the states that are still participating in unenhanced employment and those that aren't. Now, of course, the states are going to have different economies, different factors. But for me, from where I sit right now, I don't think I have a clear answer, because I don't think that this is what's necessarily driving the mismatch between employers and potential employees.
Right. Okay, so continual claims rose by more than 696,000 for the week ending April 24th. What's driving this increased need for continual aid if the jobs are supposedly coming back?
Right. And that's where I get to this question of what is keeping people from reentering the workforce? Is it, whether it's their health concerns or childcare? But, back to our initial point of discussion, you can't say that the job market has completely recovered. We're still sort of down at least over 8 million jobs. And I think that, people who've been out of the market for a while, many of them have a very concrete and valid reason that they haven't been able to re-enter. Yeah. And that is what we're seeing in these continual claims that you just referenced.
Right. You're right. There's so many factors at play. It's really interesting. Well, Lori Bettinger, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your insight.
Thank you for having me.